So, I am presenting on first person language as a reminder of how important of a topic it is. We, as social work and life enrichment staff, are pretty good about it, but there are a lot of staff who are not very good about it. And it's not hurtful or harmful to remind them that people first language is very important. So, the objectives after this short presentation would be that you understand what person first language is, why it's important, why we should use it, and most importantly, be comfortable using person first language and reminding other staff or other people in general that it's an important topic. So person first language is understanding that a person has a disability or they have a disease, but it's not that they're defined by their disability. People with disabilities as a whole is our nation's largest minority group, and 54 million Americans have some sort of disabilities. All genders, all religions, all sexes, all socioeconomic levels, doesn't discriminate. And person first language emphasizes a person, it doesn't emphasize their disability. So your mom is going to be coming to the Barron Center and she's going to be a resident here, and you meet the nurse at the door. Your mom's in a wheelchair and the nurse says, all wheelchair bound people have to sit at that table. You'd feel pretty bad about that, and your mom would too. What the nurse could say is, hi Susie, I noticed that you use a wheelchair. This table over here is lower and might be helpful for you to use, for you to sit at. Sit here if you'd like. If not, we have plenty of other tables to sit at. Gives her a choice. Doesn't make her feel like her wheelchair defines who she is. She's a wheelchair-bound resident. She's a resident who uses a wheelchair. When we acknowledge that a person has a disability, but it doesn't define them, it makes them feel better, like I said 3 times already. It eliminates stereotypes and generalizations. You see a group of women in wheelchairs in a nursing home. Someone might think, oh, they can't do anything. They just sit here all day long. They're all in wheelchairs. But that's not true. As we know, we have plenty of residents in wheelchairs. They go outside, they go on trips, they play games, they do all sorts of things in a different way. We adapt everything, all ADLs and all activities for people with all sorts of disabilities. So how to use person first language? Most importantly, put the person first and their disability or their disease last. An unacceptable sentence. Mary is in a wheelchair, or Mary is wheelchair bound and deaf. That just, there she is. An acceptable sentence, Mary is deaf. She is also in a wheelchair. She uses a wheelchair. I lost my train of thought on that one. Oh, deaf. Sometimes there's a like some people don't like to use the word deaf, but in the deaf community, deaf is okay. You might be hearing impaired, but it's different from deaf, and they say that deaf is an okay word to use. Not acceptable. That woman over there is brain damaged. Not okay. Very hurtful. A better way to say it. Vanessa has a brain injury. Vanessa might have a brain injury from an accident, from a stroke, from a disease she has had her whole life. She has a brain injury. Vanessa comes first. Most importantly, use names. Not that woman, not that man. This is one that we see a lot in long-term care settings. Irene is a feed. Irene is not a feed. She's not a feeder. Irene needs assistance at mealtime. Irene requires assistance using a spoon. So we're going to practice. What do you know about Christopher Reeve?
He was really handsome.
He was really handsome. He was really handsome. He was Superman.
Paralyzed.
He was paralyzed. An unacceptable way to describe Christopher Reeve. Christopher Reeve was a brain-damaged actor. He fell off a horse, or he was in a horse accident. a very horrible one. Christopher Reeve was an actor. He had a brain injury. That's it. Christopher came first. We are talking about his disability. He has a brain injury. What do you know about Albert Einstein?
Albert, I believe, was dyslexic.
Close. He may have been. An unacceptable way to describe Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein was slow as a child. Years and years ago, we would have said, Albert was slow. He was slow in school, and still we hear that. We hear that kids are slow learners. They're behind. And there are much more acceptable ways to say that. Albert Einstein had a learning disability. Perfectly acceptable. He had a learning disability.
And was brilliant.
And what?
And was brilliant.
And was brilliant. Very true. How about Cher?
She was dyslexic.
She was dyslexic.
Cher.
Which is not the best way to say that. Cher sings Jackie songs is right. Cher has dyslexia. We still use, and we all speak fast. We talk fast, we work in long-term care, this is healthcare. We talk fast, we move fast. Sometimes we probably say, Cher is dyslexic. If we were really thinking about it, a more appropriate way to describe Cher, besides that she's a fabulous wild singer, is that Cher has dyslexia. She's not defined by that. And Paula Deen.
Paula Deen got herself in some trouble.
I don't know anything about Paula Deen.
She's racist? I don't know.
Paula Deen is diabetic. People who have diabetes, Paula Deen has diabetes. People who have diabetes often refer to themselves as a diabetic. They are, that's what they are, they're diabetic. It's just more appropriate to put them first instead of saying, they're all diabetics over there. Make sure the diabetics don't have ice cream. These folks have diabetes, perhaps there is a sugar-free ice cream that we can serve them. So words have power. Words hurt us. We remember what people said. And for a long time, we can feel hurt by what they've said. Or feel happy, but in this case, we're talking about how words can be very hurtful. So we want to try not to use words like suffer. Jane doesn't suffer because she had a stroke. Jane doesn't suffer because she has MS. She's not a victim of MS. Jane has MS. That's the way it is. That Jane, we don't want to talk about her disability in a negative way. Because Jane probably doesn't suffer. She might, we adapt things for Jane with MS, just like we'd adapt things for anybody. We don't want people to feel like they're being defined by their disability, and it's hard to do, and we just have to be more aware of what we're saying. We have to think about our words before we say them.
I think people would realize it if you said, it's going to sound awful, but all the blacks sit at that table.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't say that, but all the people in wheelchairs sit. People might say
It's ultimately the same
Yeah.
idea. It really is. You're separating them because they're different, and different is okay. Different is beautiful. We focus on different now, which is okay because we're not focusing on different in a negative way. It's a good example. So wrapping up, above all, remember that a disability doesn't define somebody. Just as one characteristic doesn't define you. As small as, Ashley, you have a size 9 foot. So all the size 9s need to sit over there. All the size 9, you have big ugly feet. That doesn't define who you are. You might have big feet, but that's not who you are. So we don't want to focus on someone's disease or disability as who they are. It's just something unique about them. Getting it wrong is okay. It's not the end of the world. You recognize that you said something wrong. You turn it around. We're constantly saying, well, that was very politically correct. Let me find the right word for that. And correct other people, not in a mean way, not in a snotty way. Don't tell them they're wrong. let them know that, oh, we're trying to be more politically correct, we're trying to use person first language here. Fix their sentence, give them a suggestion. Some people might not like that, but at least you tried. And remember that words have power. Don't use negative words. I know you learned that when you're 6 years old, but 30 years later, you're still thinking about it. Be nice. Think before you talk, take it slow. So I don't know if this will work on here. Before I click, there's a sport called goal ball, and it's a sport that is for people who are blind. And the ball, I think the ball vibrates or beeps as it's like dodgeball, as it's coming at you. It's kind of neat, and this is just like a minute clip. And then recently in the news, some surrounding town is doing an Easter egg hunt for children who are deaf or who are blind, or children who have some sort of visual impairment, and the eggs beep and they vibrate, so they can find them. It's kind of neat. So I'm going to, nope, that's not going to work. But I will email you these links or show them to you. I can turn the laptop around after and you can.
I think the Wi-Fi's been in and out today.
Like always. Any questions? Any comments? Any stories?
I don't think so.
Just a little reminder.
It's a good reminder. I
Person first language.
I think we can fall into those traps easily.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I personally don't think I'd say put all the feeds at the table, because that term makes me want to scream.
Mm-hmm.
But, I might not think to always say, Sarah is not defined by her curly hair, but she has curly hair, but it doesn't have her. You know what I mean? You don't always necessarily think. You can easily fall into that.
Oh yeah, it's good to get a reminder, especially this population too, they're not gonna speak up if they're offended.
Right.
Or maybe they can't speak up.
Somebody
Or-
has to advocate for them.
Right,
And
so it's good to get a reminder, because we're in a rush a lot, we're trying to get all these people fed or get all these people collected, and when you're, barking orders at staff, trying to tell them to, do certain things. I try not to bark too.
Get the key
but
list. Get the.
right, right, it's easy to fall into those habits.
And like you said, we're all moving really fast.
We move fast. We talk fast. We think fast. We do a lot of fast things.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta find better ways to shorten things. If you need to say something quickly, you still need to think.
Think for just a second before you say it. And, sometimes we're gonna mess up. And you think about it later, oh, that wasn't a very good sentence. I shouldn't have said that. And hopefully if somebody does feel offended, they'll tell you. Because that's a reminder too. And thank you guys for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.